Beware what you ask, nomad. Curiosity is a charming trait until it is not.
Hi, Zizaran here with another video talking about the Path of Exile Echoes expansion and the Ritual League. 3.13 is upon us. That's the patch number. And wow, there are so many things in this that has blown me away. Now, I do have an uncanny feature or whatever, but every time I've been very excited for a league, it's been bad, and every time I've been not excited for a league, it's been amazing. So let's see if this breaks the curse or reinforces it. Either way, there is so much exciting stuff here. Let's start talking about the Echoes expansion, which features a new boss for Path of Exile. Similar from the domain that the Elder comes from, we have Maven, and it's like all like, you know, very, very on theme. So it's like Celestial and Elder themed. And we finally have a new boss in Path of Exile. Obviously something I am very excited about. And it seems to be very, very centered about bossing, because here you can do multiple bosses at the same time while building up to fight Maven. And at some point you get to fight 10 bosses at once. Seems like it's going to be like an insane fight, and I'm very, very excited for it personally. They're basically putting skill trees on the Atlas. So each region, like Glennick, Cairns, etc., will get its own skill tree that gives you the choices between leagues that you want to specialize in. Maybe you really like the Beyond mechanic and you want more Beyond, or you really like the Breach mechanic and you want more Breach, more Harvest, etc. And you get to specialize into some of these. We get 10 points, 10 skill points per like thing, and they said that unlocking all of them for every region should be around similar in scope to the Awakener 8 questline. This is very, very exciting for me personally, because one of the things I've been asking for more than anything is more target farming. So very excited about this in particular. It looks really cool. Some of it looks completely busted. We did do an impromptu podcast with another streamer called Steel Mage, and we talked a lot about it, looked over all of it. The Beyond ones, extra juicy. Like one of them, for example, is that it requires one less portal to create like Bameth or one of the bosses. So a lot more like things are going to be dropping, and it's just going to be very hectic. A lot of them just look very exciting. There were a few, obviously, like you can see that there is obviously a power imbalance. Some of them are very strong, some of them are a bit weaker, but most of them are exciting. Another feature that's coming with this expansion is tradable / craftable Watchstones. So there will be like specific Watchstones in addition to the normal ones. The normal ones are going to be like the basic ones, and then you can get new ones which are going to be different than the Cyrus droppable Watchstones, because these are unlimited in use. So you don't have to worry about them only lasting a certain amount of uses before you lose them. Very, very cool feature. Excited to see how that plays out and what all the different stuff we can craft of them are. They can only be blue as well. They cannot be rare. They are also giving us the Maven Orb, which is mind-blowing. We obviously don't fully know exactly how to use it yet, but there are so many exciting things about this. The way the Maven Orb works is that an item needs to be influenced and have at least 2 tier 1 influence mods. So in the example they gave us, it had, I can't remember what the other thing is, but it had tier 1 percentage intellect and another influence mob. In the example they used, they had tier 1 intellect percent and another mod as well that was tier 1 influence. And the Maven Orb destroyed the other one and then empowers the tier 1% intellect. And that became like a hybrid mod where it has percentage int as well as +1 level of socketed int gems. So gonna be very hard and RNG based, right? Because it's a 50-50 chance if it takes the mod you want or the other one. But either way, looks like a really, really cool thing for advanced crafting with risk versus reward, and something I'm very excited for. They did say that the Maven Orb would be similar in rarity to the Awakener Orb, so might be kind of scarce on Soul Self-Found players for myself, but Trade League should make it very, very interesting, and, you know, item showcases and stuff like that. Could be some really cool effects that we really want to go for here. I'm very curious to see what like explosion chest will be upgraded to. Is it just +1 fizz, or is it going to be something more? There is also in this expansion going to be 11 new maps. Very, very cool. And they look to be like very decorated, very like more in depth. They're less plain than a lot of the existing maps we have, because these are maps based on the Path of Exile 2.0 tile sets, which is going to be like different in scope. And yeah, I'm excited to see how that is going to like affect everything and how cool they're going to be. Ritual League. It looks a lot like Breach, Domination. It looks a lot like other leagues. It's very, very interesting. Some elements of like Pirandas and Betrayal, like the reward you get at the end after finishing the mechanic is sort of like Betrayal, where you choose a reward like that. And you kind of like fight the monsters twice, similar to Legion. So it's like sort of similar to other leagues. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about how fun and engaging this mechanic is going to be. I feel like that's very, very hard to tell now based on just videos, because with Legion specifically, I thought the monoliths was going to be boring and that the main like emblems were going to be super fun. That was kind of the opposite for me, but it's going to be interesting. I'm very, very curious. It does look like it could be a lot less rewarding than Heist. Heist was obviously, in my opinion, way too rewarding. And it seems like very, very deterministic what the rewards are. Obviously, if you can't afford the reward you really want, you can push that to further ones till you have more currency or like more of the reward juice to pull a reward out. And it's a very, very interesting league, and you get to like empower bosses. It scales the further in you push. So like the bosses will keep stacking up and stuff. It's a very, very interesting league. I think this is definitely a harder one to like predict whether it's going to be fun or not until you get to try it. Very, very interesting league though. And I will say that I feel like normally in Path of Exile with grindy games, they normally pair a weak league with a strong expansion. For example, I would consider Metamorph a fairly weak league on its own, but it obviously got carried very hard by the amazing Conqueror expansion. This time, I think this is the strongest league they've paired with the strongest expansion I've ever seen. I was very excited with pretty much everything that they were doing here. I don't know if this is just that, you know, when you've been out in the cold for a little bit, you really appreciate the heat. Well, this was a 4-month league of Path of Exile. I am really appreciating the new content. I'm very positive. There wasn't really that much I saw that I didn't like. I'm fairly excited about pretty much all of it. And I hope I can like retain that positivity because it feels good. I was pretty negative in Heist. There's a lot to be negative about. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff here. And they're doing more than that as well. They're doing, for balance, they're doing at least 3 Ascendancy reworks. And pretty much everything is getting a Ascendancy rebalance. I didn't think they were going to touch Ascendancies much at all. So this definitely comes as a surprise to me. But yeah, we saw like Hierophant is, for example, losing the Pursuit of Faith node. Hierophant's, out of all the ones we saw, Hierophant is Omega lol for me. I think Hierophant isn't that exciting. The only, like, it had some exciting nodes, but I feel like as an Ascendancy, like the 4 power charges, 4 endurance charges that it did receive is probably not enough for me. And I'm not that keen on Hierophants now. But there are a lot of exciting reworks. Elementalist looks really cool. Slayer looks really cool. And I'm excited to see like the full scope of all the changes there. They've said they've shook up the meta very hard, so it's going to be really cool to see. And another thing they did to shake this up is they've done a large gem rebalance. And if you do watch the full video, you can see me being extremely happy when they mentioned Cracklands. This was almost a guaranteed buff in my eyes, because they even talked about buffing it mid-league, something they've never done before, and probably the only thing that held it back was that they probably didn't want to open up that kind of worms of having the community being like, please buff this skill, it's too weak, and spamming that the entire mid-league until it happens. But Cracklands is on the list of things that are getting buffed. So hopefully we're going to see a very, very strong Cracklands. It's a skill that is already okay right now, but it's simply weaker than, for example, Arc or Ball Lightning, and doesn't have any advantage over any of the other lightning skills, which is particularly sad when it is a new skill. Generally, I think it's healthy if the new skills are always slightly overpowered, or at least strong, and you have a good reason to use them when they're coming out, and then you can balance or nerf them later. There is more. Harvest is returning very, very similar in the exact way that I predicted it would return. I made a video talking and giving feedback on Harvest and how I would like to see it come into the game. The only thing, well, I mean, we don't know for sure. One of my suggestions was that they could place Harvest in Delve. I don't think that's what's happening. Obviously, it seems like a map-only thing. You're basically meeting a Harvest patch now and again, and then it will be like, there's no growing of seeds anymore. You just go in, you see there might be 2, 3, 4, etc. different harvest patches, and you get to open one. Once you open one, the others will wither, and there are some things you can make, so you can maybe open 2, even 3 maybe, but at least the idea is that you get to choose one harvest patch that you do. It'll have a bunch of crafts already pre-grown, and you can save now up to 10 crafts, so not infinite like before. All in all, I'm pretty excited about Harvest coming back. They haven't shown any of the rarer crafts. They never showed any like add, remove, or remove of the targeted ones. So like add fire, remove fire. None of those were shown, but pretty excited. Harvest just has so many cool things for the game. It was just a bit of a tedious interaction mechanic. Heist is also returning. It's going to be less of a grind, faster quests. I don't know. It's just gonna have to be play it by ear, see how it feels. The part of the problem for me with Heist was that it was very, very too much rewarding to the point where it made other things in the game feel bad. And whether that can make Heist feel really good, but I think it's important that a lot of the aspects in the game feel good. And Heist has one of the #1 things that I dislike, where, you know, it was just shitting out pure breach stones, charged breach stones. So like, why would I ever do breach when I can just go farm like 20 pure Chayulas in Heist? And I actually at one point got 4 Chayulas from one Heist, and I'm like, okay. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on the new content. Do remember that if you're a new player to Path of Exile, or even if you're just like wanting to learn more about the game, I am doing Path of Exile University. There's loads of videos I have on YouTube where we're like exploring and explaining different aspects of the game, and also collaborating with other amazing Path of Exile streamers. And another good way to support these things is we have Path of Exile University t-shirts that you can buy. So if you like it, consider that. And either way, I hope you guys enjoy the content. Sub to the YouTube if you do, and thanks for watching. Try to die less than I do.